There's a part of the internet that most of us will never, ever see. It's this digital underworld operating completely in the shadows, totally off the grid from Google or any search engine you can think of. Today, we're diving into that hidden world, the dark web. And let's just start with the headline that kind of says it all. In 2015, the guy who started a website called the Silk Road sentenced to life in prison. And what did he do? He created a $1 billion black market. We're talking a massive online bazaar for drugs, illegal goods, you name it. And the craziest part? It was all hidden in plain sight, but only if you knew exactly where to look. So that just begs the question, right? How in the world do you hide a $1 billion criminal empire online? How do you run something that massive right under everyone's noses and make yourself a complete ghost on the internet? Okay, to really get this, you gotta picture the internet like a giant iceberg. Seriously, all the stuff you and I use every single day, Google, Instagram, news websites, that's just the tiny little tip poking out of the water. That's what we call the surface web. But then you go beneath the surface, right? And that's where you find the deep web. This is a massive, anonymous, online space that you just can't get to with Chrome or Safari. Nope, you need special software just to even knock on the door. And then, deep inside that hidden world is the really dark part, the dark web. Now, this isn't just one thing. It's a whole bunch of encrypted networks built for one very specific purpose, and they do it incredibly well to completely erase your identity and your location. See, here's how it works for most of us. Every single time you go online, your computer, your phone, whatever, it has an IP address. Just think of it like a digital fingerprint, or even your home address. It means any website you visit can be traced right back to where you are physically. There are basically no secrets. So if you want to operate in those shadows, well, you have to get rid of that fingerprint. You've got to become a digital ghost. The big question is, how? No, the answer is a piece of software called Tor, and its backstory is pretty wild. Tor stands for the Onion Routing Project. And get this, it wasn't cooked up by some group of hackers in a basement. It was actually developed by the US Navy back in the 90s. Their goal was to protect government communications. But then, in 2004, they released it to the public. And, well, the internet was never quite the same again. So, how does this thing actually make you a ghost? Okay, instead of your computer talking directly to a website, like a straight line from point A to B, Tor sends your connection on this crazy random trip around the world. So let's say you're in New York, and the website you want to visit is hosted just across the river in New Jersey. With Tor, your request might first get shot over to a random computer in South Africa, then get relayed to another one in Hong Kong, before it finally lands in New Jersey. Your digital trail is completely scrambled. And we're talking about a massive scale here. This isn't some small, dinky system. The Tor network is made up of over 7,000 volunteer computers. They're called relays all over the globe. People just offer up their computers to be part of the network. So your data gets wrapped up in all these layers of encryption, kind of like an onion, and then bounced between all these random relays. It makes finding out where you started from pretty much impossible. Now, are there other networks out there? Yeah, a few. You might hear about I2P or Freenet, but honestly, Tor is the undisputed king. It's the main event, it's the gateway that almost everyone uses to go down the rabbit hole into this hidden part of the internet. So just how big is this place? Well, get your head around this. In just a single month back in 2018, one software company managed to find over 6,600 active dark websites. And remember, that was just a snapshot in time. The world down there is vast, and it's always shifting, always changing. But this is where things get really complicated, because this total anonymity, it's just a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or it can be used for some really, really bad stuff. So on the one hand, you have journalists in dangerous countries using it to report the truth safely. You have whistleblowers who can leak crucial information without getting caught. But on the other hand, that exact same cloak of invisibility is used for cybercrime, for running illegal marketplaces, and for hiding some of the most awful activity you can imagine. So you can imagine what a nightmare this is for law enforcement, right? A special agent from Homeland Security, Matt Swenson, put it perfectly. He said trying to police the dark web is like a never-ending game of whack-a-mole. You bust one illegal site and almost immediately 2 more just pop right up. But, and this is the final, fascinating twist, the very thing that protects these criminals, that total anonymity, can also be what brings them down. It's a paradox. Think about it. If nobody knows who you are, how can anyone trust you? This means law enforcement can go undercover. They can pretend to be buyers, sellers, or other criminals, using that same veil of secrecy as a weapon against the very people who depend on it. And that leaves us with one last pretty chilling question. When you're in a place with no names, no faces, no locations, who are you really talking to? Is it another activist? Is it a criminal? Or is it the federal agent who's just waiting to knock on your door? On the dark web, the terrifying truth is, you can never, ever be sure.